Hello friends, my name's Emile and welcome back to some more Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. Today we're continuing on with our Let's Play. This is episode 4, and in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at the International A license, the final of the International licenses, and also the final of the traditional license tests. From here on out it's mostly hot lapping and there's also some rally tests. So, yeah, the IA license is one of the more difficult of the game. Most of these tests did take me more than one attempt. This first test, admittedly, I did complete first time round. It's not a particularly hard one, although the next few are harder. Tokyo R246, I don't believe we've seen this track yet in the license tests. New track to Gran Turismo 3. I like R246, it's a good track. I'm just not very good at it, like, at all. I kind of suck at this track. Which hopefully I do improve, because admittedly this track does show up a lot in the game, so hopefully I can improve at it. But yeah, I do actually like R246. It's one of my more preferred of the city circuits. Of course, as you saw there, smashed the wall a little bit, but you know, got a bronze on it, so that's fine by me. Next test heads to the Trial Mountain course. A course which has been in Gran Turismo since GT1. So pretty well experienced here. This test is one of those which is very time orientated. Here's some interesting thing for you. In Gran Turismo 3, you can fail a lot of these tests by the time expiring. In GT4, they made it a lot harder to do so. Basically, what they did in GT4 is they made gold and silver relatively hard to achieve, like as hard as they are in this game. But then they made bronze a lot more lenient. Well, as here, you know, bronze is also relatively strict, so yeah, failing the tests by the time expiring is something which is relatively common in GT3, and it was something I was running up against. You can see sort of best times in the top right of the screen, so that's sort of how you know if I missed out on a time limit. For example, IA4 here, which involves a JGTC NSX, was a test which I was having huge issues with, just trying to reach that 34 seconds. I was pushing this car as quickly as I could, and even then I just managed to get the bronze. It is a hard test, this one. The JGTC cars are pretty decent to drive. The problem they've got is there's just such a fine line between, you know, what's acceptable in these cars and what's too much for them. And thanks to sort of the way Gran Turismo 3 works, it doesn't give you all that much feedback. So actually trying to figure out where the limit is on some of these cars is very difficult indeed. It was something I was having issue with. But I did get through it in the end. Admittedly, that test took me 14 attempts according to my notepad, although that's nowhere near what one of the previous tests took, as again, I'm a little bit of stuttering there. I'm assuming that was on my editing program. If it actually showed up in the video, I'm sorry. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, that's nowhere near as one of the license tests. One of them that's going to be coming up in the special license, in fact, took me a lot more attempts than that, I can assure you. Anyways, IA6, we're going to Rome, one of my favourite tracks actually in this game. I love the Rome course. It's a shame they got rid of this in GT4 and then they brought it back for GT5, and it was bollocks because the Gran Turismo 5 version... Gran Turismo 5 had like a load of made up city courses and all of them were terrible. I'm sorry, they just were. All of them were fuck awful. You know, what's wrong with the Rome course? The Rome course was great. It's such a simple track, but a fun track, nonetheless. Pretty easy license test there, actually, to be honest with you. Involved the Zonda. Very understeery car, very weird gear ratios in the Zonda. Anyways, to finish up IA, they give us 2 tests at the complex string circuit. The first one involves this R34 Skyline. This one is pretty tricky. Again, when I first did the time trials, this was an issue I was running into. This sort of S-bend system they've got going on here, it's incredible amounts of fun to drive. The problem is you think you need to go slow into it, but you can basically go flat out through that section of the track. it's just trying to maintain momentum. You don't want to lose too much of it by cornering too hard. You sort of want to come off the throttle every now and again just to reset the car, otherwise you'll be slowing down, and you do not want to slow down during that section. You want to keep your speed up, want to keep momentum up. And it's a pretty difficult thing to do overall, but still, if you get a good handling car, that part of the track is excellent fun. Anyways, the final I-8 test involves these sorts of weird, I'm gonna call them the People's Corner, because they kind of look like a small family or something, I don't know. Basically these weird knots, which you can see coming up in the track. The thing that does make this test particularly difficult is it's actually reversed. You know, driving complex string in reverse is a different kettle of fish to driving it going forward for the most part. It's a really weird thing. Sort of, when going in reverse, as you can see, sort of the knots get tighter and tighter, well, as if you come from the opposite way, the correct way, the knots get more loose. When the knots get more loose, you're actually coming from a slower section of the track, so you're sort of prepared for it. Whereas on this test, because you're coming from it this way and the knots are getting tighter, you're not as prepared for it. It's weird. Not to mention the car they give you is, you know, if you push the throttle down in this, it will just spin. Which is not something you particularly want to happen. As you can see, I was having some issues just trying to get it out of the knots as well. That was another issue I was having. But luckily enough, I just managed to clamp down on that throttle in time to make the final bend. So there we go. Anyways, that's the IA license test done. As you can see, it spins and all the rest of it because, hey, International A license awarded. Congratulations. So yeah, that's it for all of the international license tests. Next up we get to the joy of looking at the special licenses, so that should be a lot of fun. As always, just going to show the game status at the end, just so you can see how far we are through the game now. And that's going to be it for today. Thank you all very much for watching, friends. My name's been the Real Emile, and until next time, farewell.